Well, the president wrapping up the final business day of his first 100 days, knowing at the very least the government will not be shut down. That's good as he reaches that milestone. However, supporters and critics are painting two very different pictures of this beginning of his presidency. Here now to give us a fair and balanced discussion of both views are Republican strategist Eric Beach and Democratic pollster and strategist Jessica Tarlov, along with Republican strategist Eric Beach, who I just said. There you go. Eric, you're with us twice, which is not an easy thing to do.
Say how great Trump is twice, please.
Yeah. I have a feeling you guys are not going to agree. Eric, let me begin with you. How would you characterize these first 100 days?
Well, I'm going to give you an A+ for my introduction, but I'm going to give the president, an A-. And I think if the Congress matches his energy and leadership, that could bump to an A+. If I told you, at this point that the Dow would be up 2,700 points since he was elected, illegal immigration was down 50%, numerous regulations that he's rolled back to create more jobs for the American worker, and of course a constitutional conservative on the Supreme Court, I'd say he's had a great 100 days, and I'd like to see the Congress match that energy going forward.
Jessica Tarlov, you totally agree with Eric, I can tell that, so I'll go back to no one. Okay, how would you characterize A- from Eric? What do you give President Trump?
I think like a C-.
Wow, that's a lot better than I thought you would.
I know. Well, I think it's too cliche to be an F.
Okay.
No. Well, I was listening to Leon Panetta talk about this issue, and he gave the president a B on foreign policy because the Syria strike was something that was bipartisan agreement about it.
You agreed with that?
I did agree with that. Yeah. I think the posturing with North Korea is a little frightening, and the fact that we're talking about an imminent threat from North Korea, very scary, though that would have been the same if it had been Hillary Clinton.
But up until now, nothing else has worked. Strategic patience.
Absolutely. That's why I gave him a B, which is passing. You can go to a very good college with a B. So, but that's just foreign policy. If we look at the domestic front, and I'm glad that Eric brought up the illegal immigration number, because I do think that that is really the high point, what he should be talking about, that his rhetoric, which I found deeply offensive, and majority of Americans did as well, has obviously done something to stop people from trying to make that border crossing. What I would say now, the challenge that he faces is what is he going to do about the 11 million people who are already in this country? We're not going to have a deportation force. Jeff Sessions' view of what we're going to do is it's not enactable. That's not what we're going to do. But I think, I don't see really any other accomplishment. He's not building a wall. He had to take the funding out of the government shutdown bill, right, because he wasn't going to get it. So that's just posturing. I heard him at the NRA speech talking about it again. Yes. That wall isn't happening. So, I mean, it was a digital wall.
Don't you worry about it. That's what he told me.
Yeah, he tells us not to worry, but
Eric,
I worry.
When do we begin mixing the concrete for the wall?
Well, very soon. Look, I love when the Democrats suggest, hey, it's all been posturing. He's not going to follow through with his rhetoric. Well, he has. He's followed through countless and many times, with his rhetoric on the campaign trail, and he ran with a certain vision of how to lead this country, and that vision is being implemented. Jessica noted, again, she switches the topic about, the current illegal immigrants that are here, but, the notion that the American president, his main focus is to protect American citizens, and he's putting policies in place to execute that. And you have to look at the 500,000 jobs that he has created, because he has a culture of confidence now to the American worker and from the American companies.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that a good amount of the growth that we've seen, and we didn't get a great GDP number, which he
it's not going to happen in 3
No, of
months.
course it isn't. But Eric pointed out, oh, look at the big Dow increase because of President Trump. What about President Obama? What about what he did for the economy? There's another side to all of these stories, and President Obama took us out of an enormous recession, right? I mean, he inherited an actual dumpster fire, even though Donald Trump says that that's what he got from President Obama.
But he knows that we've seen of any president over the course of his administration. Would you not agree, Jessica, that the confidence and the optimism in this country with regard to the economy is so much higher now we have a new
There
president?
is very high consumer confidence, and I think that the only thing that the American people do really have trust in him, and this is what the polls reflect, is the economy. But you have to also look at his approval rating. I mean, he's the worst approval rating of any president in polling history at this juncture.
Eric, respond to that, and you're the last word. What about this polling number?
It sounds like even the Democrats have a little bit of trust with him on his foreign policy and his vision. He has showed a great leadership.
Yeah, he had a good strike. I mean, it takes more.
I mean, President Obama had, 4 times the amount of those strikes than, George W. Bush did. So, look, I think at the end of the day, what we look for from our president is leadership and vision, and the numbers don't lie. And there's a lot of things that he has done in these first 100 days that demonstrated both of those. And, he has matched his campaign rhetoric and turned that into executing on that vision. That's what our leaders are supposed to do, and I'm very happy to support the president.
I have to leave it there. I do feel like
Too bad, because I disagree vehemently with what Eric just said.
Let's see what he does in the next 100 days.
Oh my God,
A
we have another 100.
C minus. We have another 100. Eric number 1, Eric number 2. Thank you both for being here. Jessica Tarlov in studio. Actually, in a pretty generous mood. C minus. We'll take it. All right.